I'm Greg.
And I'm Billy.
And we're the Fuji Guys. Today's video is a first look at our brand new X-A1 interchangeable lens camera. It's a compact system style camera. It's going to become kitted with our 16 to 50 millimeters XC
lens,
Fujinon lens at a retail price of only $5.99. So it's a whole new price point for the amazing Fuji quality and the ability to use our whole set of interchangeable lens cameras. So this camera is going to be coming in 3 different colors. The black one, which Billy's going to be demonstrating to you soon. Also a blue version like this, and also a red version. Now the red version, I got to say a couple things about what we're showing you here. First of all, it is a slightly different finish on the body. And secondly, the lens that we're showing on there, the black 16 to 50 millimeter XC lens, what it will actually come kitted with is actually a silver version. You can go to our website and check out a picture of that. And in fact, I'm sure, Billy, you probably put one in the video before while we speak, right? So here we go. Billy, take us through the X-A1 front, top, bottom. Show us what the controls are like.
Okay, I mean, the X-A1 is quite similar to the XM1 in terms of controls, looks, and there's not a whole lot of differences, but the major difference, of course, is the sensor being used on this camera. It does use the standard Bayer CMOS sensor. It's an APS-C, so it's quite large, similarly found on majority of DSLR cameras out there. But if you're really interested in this, I'll really point out through all the controls and dials on this camera. So if you're looking at the front of this camera, of course, what you're going to see first is the lens itself. So I'm just going to take the hood out of the way to make it easier to see. And maybe I'll take the lens out just quickly. And to do that, there's actually a lens release in the front there, just like any of the X-series cameras. And you just hold it down and twist, and it comes apart. Of course, this is where you actually see the sensor, and this is why we call it a mirrorless camera. There is no mirrors. But there is an ultrasonic vibration system that helps remove dust, which is kind of nice. And not having the mirror also helps in not creating that vacuum that sucks dust in. So you end up finding a lot of the CSCs cameras like these don't have as much dust issues. Not saying that it doesn't, so you do have to take care. Don't do what I do right here. Generally, you want to have it maybe up in this direction when you take the lens out, okay? But I got my full repair team available for me anytime to clean my dust. So that's just the release. That's the little mount icon there where you kind of match it with the lens. The lens, here's the 16 to 50 mil XE lens, and you match that together to attach it. And of course, you got these communication pins that basically sends information from the lens to the camera so it knows the proper exposure and, of course, the focusing there. To the left of the lens, you got the AF lamp, and again, it's used to help illuminate subjects in low light situations so the camera can focus a lot easier. You also notice that the front end of this camera has a different texture than the XM1. It's more of a rubberized material, and it has sort of these, I don't know, I don't even know what to call this type of material in terms of looks. It's very nice and stylish. I really like it, actually, and it gives a nice little texture to it. You got a little grip area as well. On the right-hand side, of course, you just got the X-A1 logo, so that's how you can tell what model you have. Looking at the top of the camera, you got several dials here. You got the function button. That gives you quick access to different function options. It could be customizable. I think the default is the ISO selection, but you can change it to other things just by holding it down for a few seconds. In the playback mode, it doubles as the Wi-Fi feature, so if you wanted to upload images from this camera to a smartphone using our Fuji software that you can download for free, whether it's iOS or Android, or even on a computer. There's actually an auto-save, PC auto-save feature that you can use to download images directly to your computer via Wi-Fi, and that's access to that. You got a command dial. The command dial can change settings on the camera, including the aperture and shutter, depending on the mode you're at. Generally, in other modes, it also is your exposure compensation dial, and it can be rotated completely left or right. You got your on and off switch. So turning it on is like that, and turning it off. And of course, on top of that is your shutter button. And again, it's a 2 switch. You push halfway down to pre-focus, all the way down to take the picture. The button itself has been designed a little bit easier so that it makes it a lot easier to push it. Generally, we talk about these soft releases that you can buy for some of our X-series cameras that have the screw tripod, the cable release socket. With this actually shutter button, it's actually very soft and it makes it easier to push. So it's one of the new designs we made with this camera. You got the modals, same thing like the XM1. You got manual modes, aperture modes, even scene situation modes, scene position modes, as well as this SR Plus auto mode, which really determines the scene, the focusing, and really makes it a true point-and-shoot camera, which is what this camera is really meant to do. Of course, it's a camera you can grow with, so if you're just starting photography and you want to take great photos with a large sensor and with a good lens, this is a good camera to pick up. When you get better, you want to have more control over depth of field maybe, or want to freeze subjects, you have the ability to go through the aperture or shutter.
Yeah. There's room to grow with this camera.
Absolutely. Hot shoe on the top of there supports our TTL flashes. On the left and right of that, on the top again, you got your left and right stereo microphone. Of course, it's HD video that's recorded, that stereo sound. And you got your flash, which is actually flush right now with this camera. And I'll show you where the button is later on to pop the flash up. Before I do that, let me show you the sides quickly. Again, you got the area where you can attach your strap. You also got a little speaker here as well, so that if you're recording videos, you can actually hear it when you play it back. On the opposite end, you got your other end of the strap attachment, and the strap is included, of course. You got a little cover here, a terminal cover that accesses the HDMI connector, so you can play it back to a HD TV. There's also a USB connection here if you ever wanted to download, to the computer via that way. Generally, I recommend like a card reader. It's the easiest way to do it. Most computers nowadays have it built in, so it's generally not a port that you would ever really use down the road. Looking at the bottom of the camera quickly, you got your battery cover. Slide that to unlock, and of course you got your MP W126 rechargeable lithium battery. Comes with a charger. It's dual voltage, and again, before you start shooting, you really want to have it fully charged. So you can plug it in and charge it for about 4.5 hours. But if you just got it for Christmas and you want to start taking photos, there is still some charge in it to take photos of. Another thing is a memory card slot is actually located at the battery door as well. Again, if you're doing HD videos, shooting RAW, because this camera can do that, I recommend a Class 6 card or faster if that's possible. You then got a standard tripod socket where you can attach it to the majority of tripods out in the marketplace there, and that's really the bottom of this camera. So let's now go to the back of this camera, and earlier I talked about the flash. So here it is. You got the flash pop-up button right there. You push it and it actually goes up. Again, it's designed in a way where it moves a little bit forward past the lens, so it makes it very effective. And you know what? This camera, you can actually bend the flash up, and if you wanted to bounce the flash off the ceiling, we actually designed the system so that the flash does go off properly when you do that, so that's kind of nice. It also has a super intelligent flash system, unlike some of the other X series, so it actually controls the flash output so that you don't wash out your subjects where you're taking pictures close up or you're taking pictures further away. It will adjust, and if the lighting is different as well, it will also adjust to that. And that's one of the things I like about this camera, is that I can just aim it anywhere and do flash photography and not worry about being overexposed or washed out. Okay, so that's just the flash pop-up button. Of course, on the back, you got this nice tilting LCD screen. It's a 920K tilt LCD. It's very useful for taking pictures up high, down low, depending on how you like it. Like you say, you can shoot like this, or you can do pictures like that as well, which is great for macro photography and even doing videos. I always say when you do videos, you got it close to your body. It's more steadier. The camera's going to take advantage, of course, of the optical image stabilized kit lens that it comes with, so that's kind of nice. The autofocus is also great on that lens as well. So moving on, we got the command dial, and this is the other dial that allows you to control different controls like the aperture or shutter, as well as change different settings. And in playback mode, you can navigate through the images through that. Just below that and to the right, you got a little LED indicator that kind of tells you when it's writing to the card. The standard playback button, it toggles between playback. So you can actually, when you turn it on, you can push that to review your images. And if you want to go back to shooting, you can tap the shutter button again. You got the instant record button. This is one of the new buttons that are not found on the other X series or the interchangeable versions. It's a one-touch to HD video recording start and stop. Below that, you got a directional pad that navigates the menu, but it also doubles up as other features like macro, continuous shooting, white balance control, even the AF point, so you can quickly move the AF point throughout. And you got your menu OK button that actually is like your enter key on your keyboard, so that you can push it, bring up the menu, and then of course select an item and push OK to confirm on that item. Display back is your escape button. You push it if you're in any trouble, and it just gets you back out. And then you got a famous Q menu that it gives you quick access to some of the most photographic controls that you want to use with this camera, and it makes it easier so that you don't have to dig deep into the menu system.
I think it's also important to note, because sometimes people now with this style of camera might get intimidated with that menu, is that if you do use the camera on one of the simpler modes, a lot of those options in that quick menu get grayed out.
Yep.
So it won't confuse people, or they won't have the option to set those things. So it will kind of narrow down your selection in that menu based on what the simplicity of the mode that you're using.
Now, one last thing to talk about, is the lens on this camera. It's a 16-50 lens. Zooming, of course, is manually done through the tube here. You have the focal length as you see it here, 16-50, and I like that because you have total control. It's infinite points for zooming, and it's speed if you want to do that. In front of that, you have the manual focus ring if you wanted to manually focus with the camera. And if you start moving on to other lenses that we offer, like the XF lenses, some of them have even aperture rings where you can actually directly control the aperture instead of using the back of this camera. So that's a nice little system that you can expand and grow on. So again, a quick little look around the X-A1 camera.
Anyways, thank you, Billy, for taking us on a little tour of the brand new X-A1. I just want to say that it's amazing when you see the difference between the size of something like this and what most people commonly think that you need to go to get really good image quality, a full DSLR.
Yeah.
This is the same sensor size as virtually all entry-level DSLRs out there. This lens is every bit as good, if not better, than most of the entry-level kit lenses. And Fuji is famous for their image processing. So those are really the three things that count. So being able to put it into a small package means that you'll be able to use this at more places. You'll be able to take it to more events in your life and capture the high quality images, which is the reason you wanted to go out and buy a better camera. So please consider this as a DSLR alternative. This is the X-A1 from Fujifilm. Please follow us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can check out all the other great Fuji products through the Fuji Guys videos, and you can follow Billy on Twitter. So until the next video, I'm Greg.
And I'm Billy.
And we're the Fuji Guys.